my day could include going to the actual procedures where the implants are done. So I'm fully trained clinically and I'm fully trained on the sales and marketing side, which means I physically train, I'm present in the actual surgeries, right
Wow.
side by side over the right shoulder of the cardiologist, going through the step by step and training the doctors on how to do our implant, where to place the sensor, when to pull the device, what closure techniques, everything.
Welcome to Career Plug.
Hi, and welcome to Career Plug. This is a Saturday morning. If you have not liked and subscribed, please do so. I am doing this for you, my audience. I am calling on my personal resources. So please, as I try to grow and connect with people and bring value, again, please like and subscribe. I have a special guest on today. This is a very good friend of mine. He lives in Los Angeles. I no longer live in Los Angeles. So he is up early with me on this Saturday morning. This guy shakes and moves. He's all around. I think he was just literally in Florida yesterday. So I really appreciate his time. He is in device sales. I thought following my last interview on pharmaceutical sales, you can check that out on my channel. This would be an appropriate pivot. So I want to welcome to the show, Reid.
Yes. All right. I hear the applause, the soft applause in the
Yes.
background. Yes. Thanks,
Yes,
Gene.
yes,
Thanks for
yes.
letting me
Well,
join you today, man.
you are
Yes.
welcome. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm just I like seeing what's happening in this journey that you're putting out and the content that you're creating. It's going to be inspiring and insightful, and so I'm ready to get started.
Yeah, as you know, Greg, because you and I have discussed it, as Gen Xers, what's really important, especially for Gen Z, some millennials, and people uh, doing maybe, mid-career switches, it's important to give advice, opinions, counsel on careers that exist outside of traditional paths. I just don't think that's
Mhm.
discussed enough. Many of us would have, maybe chosen different had we known about, device sales, for example, and how well people do and what the career entails. But first, before we get into that, I want to know what you are individually or with family plugged into these days.
All right. Well, I got to tell you that's it's a good lead in because I just wrote out my personal goal set for development. And I think you're touching on a few things that I think a lot of people forget about, especially our Gen Xers and Gen Zers, is that your personal development, your work up, the way that you build yourself up is the cornerstone to all new careers, engaging in new careers, and also moving into your first career. So the things that I'm into now, I like to bifurcate my learnings. They always say you shouldn't read more than one book at a time, but I don't agree with that. I think you follow your spirit and read what you can when it inspires you, if you will. So one book that I'm really into these days is it's a book on digital marketing. And as we all know, that our personal brands matter as much as the brands we support in our businesses. One of them is called They Ask You Answer. It's by Mr. Sheridan, Michael Sheridan. And it's all about offering content online, blogs, articles, etc., that preemptively address the hidden objections that any buyer is ever going to have. So, and that's a great one. So if anyone's looking at digital marketing, or if anyone works in that area, or even if you have a startup or an existing brand that you support, They Ask You Answer is, I think, indisputably, it's the framework for how most businesses elevate themselves and be found organically. The other one is a personal development side. So as we all know, emotion drives everything. Emotions first. 90% of our decisions are based on emotion. Logic is the validating factor, the rest of the 10. So it's a great book by Brene Brown. She's a social psychologist. She's done a lot of research. She has a book called Atlas of the Heart, and it's really all about the language of emotion and knowing how you can understand the feelings that you have and also how you can influence other people. So for anyone doing anything, we need to know where people are at, and we also need to know how we can communicate with them to move them from A to B, and to know what your triggers are. So those two books are really moving me right now. I'm kind of plugged into those.
Well, that's great. That's great. Thank you for that. It's a deep dive. You guys see what educated Black people do on Saturday mornings. Talk about books.
I thought I'd add context, man. I'm not selling the books right now, but the titles alone don't sell it, right? You got to get what's in it for you, right? What's in it for you?
Correct. And you have referred some great books to me. One, Blitz Scaling, was very
Hmm.
informative about, building a startup. So yeah, Greg Reid has the books down, has the books down. Um, why don't we start also with sort of like, a brief background on you, if you don't mind. I know you are from Long Beach, but maybe you can get into that a little bit, where you went to school, what was your major, quick background.
Yeah, of course. No, not a problem. I think it's important, and I'll be far more brief on this one. So, grew up in Long Beach, primarily a split between Compton and Long Beach, and graduated from Long Beach Poly High School, home of the number one sports school of the century by Sports Illustrated. Played baseball there. Was in an advanced academic program there. Graduated and went on to UCLA, majoring in engineering my first year or two. Played baseball on campus. Transferred, and baseball ended up being a skill set that professional scouts found interesting. So I was drafted by the Oakland A's many
Wow.
years ago, and played professional baseball for a number of years. And every off season went back to get my degree. And so I finished with a business degree. So I have a technical background and interest, but also a fond interest in really what's built my career. Excuse me, what's built my career has been in marketing and sales.
Thanks for that, Greg. I think background is important because
Mhm.
sometimes people don't realize, where people come from. They think they have these like magical paths to success. So I think it's important just to frame, make sure that we frame backgrounds. It's incredible you were a professional baseball player, so that's a nice start. But what was your sort of journey to device sales specifically?
Yeah, no. It's a very good, astute question, because medical device sales is not something that someone is even trained on in school. So unfortunately, there are no classes, there are no courses to move into a healthcare med device type of role. Again, like many people that have these specialty industry titles, you kind of stumble upon them from people that you're
Correct.
networking, and but at the same time, if you're listening to what other people are doing, or if you're just kind of peripherally keeping an eye on the variety of support roles that are out there, then you'll know that they're there. You just won't know until someone that you're tight with or close to kind of gives you the suggestions. There's no billboards, there's no courses, they don't exist. So in my case, I was introduced by a family friend about the career and the benefits and the lifestyle of pharmaceutical sales. So
Hmm.
for those of you that don't know, pharmaceutical sales isn't just walking in an office, looking slick and cool and dropping off some samples. It's actually a lot more to it. But there's stages: primary care, hospital sales, and then life-threatening diseases. So those were the pillars before I landed in the medical device sales world. So primary care could be a pediatric solution for little kids that have sore throats, which are products that I sold for Abbott. Hospital sales, I worked at Merck Pharmaceuticals with an IV injectable for patients having a heart attack, like while they're actually having a heart attack. So those medicines were
Wow.
administered Yeah, it's really cool. So I spent a lot of time in what's called the place called the catheterization lab at the hospital. So this is when you put the venous or peripheral arterial entryway into your leg, and these devices roll up into your heart through all of your arteries. It's really cool. So from there, I learned a little bit about life-threatening diseases like pulmonary arterial hypertension, which the medications are designed to preserve people's lives, keep them alive a little longer, kind of like a chemotherapy that keeps a cancer patient on the planet for a few more months. So all of that, in my experience, led myself to knowing about a device sales type role. So I was known to be an expert in cardiovascular. So I became aware of a position at St. Jude Medical, now has been acquired by Abbott. So med devices, in essence, are anything that is external or internally implanted. It's not derived from Mother Nature or some biosynthesized lab. So think of patches, any type of patch that does something that checks your heart rate. iWatches have sensors on it that can give you your actual heart rhythm, can give you your heart rate, it can tell you your EKG. Those are med devices. Even more seriously, you have devices like Freestyle Libre, which you've seen on commercials. So if you have a
Yes.
diabetic condition, yeah, you can take your phone, put it over, and you will know your blood glucose in the moment of time. So med devices are wide ranging. Many of them are over the counter on the shelf. Some of them are implanted, like the device that I work with in cardiology, that's a biosensor that's implanted in your pulmonary artery. And patients can remotely communicate their heart pressures to a doctor's office to make medication changes. So it's an incredible advancement, and it's the cornerstone of what's going to be a future where biowearables and bio devices are talking to physicians and informing them on how they treat you, and also informing yourself on how you can better manage your health.
That is an incredible answer. Thank you for that. So insightful. And look, I'm learning. I've known you for 15 years, and I just learned a lot more than I knew. I think I want to sort of drill down on maybe like somebody who's 22. How do they prepare, let's say, for a career or get a start in device sales? What I learned from pharma sales is that, a lot of people a lot of people thought about going to medical school, for example. And I hear
Mhm.
you using a lot of medical terms. So obviously, you have to be well versed and astute enough in, technical background. So is this, like a pre med major? Is this a
Mhm.
science major? Is this a master's degree in, some type of science field? Like, how do you, I understand that you got into it sort of
Mhm.
in a different way, in a different path, but you still have the aptitude to do it, which,
Mhm.
from what I hear, is huge in this.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, we'll just call them skill sets and knowledge by osmosis, right? In my case, so it's in all aspects, and especially in aspects of my ethnicity, I've been really an outsider coming into a world dominated by folks that have already kind of had their past kind of predestined. So I had to
Yes,
create and craft my own way to lean in with those people that kind of already have a seat at the table just because that's how their world's wired, right?
that's right.
So yes, to answer your question, and I think I did a disservice. There are multiple pathways into med devices, and one is specifically with pacemakers and defibrillators. Pacemaker is any device that's implanted in your heart that manages the rhythm of your heart. Some patients are bradycardic, some patients are tachycardic. What a pacemaker does is it keeps your rhythms in order, but those are based on electrical impulses. So there are classes, believe it or not, where biomedical engineers with a biomedical engineer degree can take after their schooling, that companies like Abbott, Medtronic, Boston Scientific actually bring you in after your biomedical engineering degree to the company and train you on all the aspects of those particular devices. So there is a specific pathway, but it comes from a technical science engineering background. That's one pillar. The other pillar are those that already work in healthcare. They could be a nurse, they could be a medical assistant that's interested in bettering their careers or using their skills in a different way. Nurse practitioners are often recruited by companies like Abbott to come on board on the vendor side, if they call it the dark side. It's the side where you're now working on behalf of one company and sharing all the benefits and the end benefits for patients to doctors and hospitals. So a nurse could easily transition into med devices because they know the language, they know medicine, and if they specialize in cardiology like I do, then it's an easier path in. And then lastly, someone like myself that has gone through the path of learning outside, but within the specialty of cardiology in my case, and then taking all the skills that I've learned over time and being relevant enough to get the interview and having enough skill sets business wise to be successful.
That's huge. Wow. Thank you for you just laid out essentially three paths
Yep.
to get in, and that's so insightful once again and helpful for just practical advice. Because again, what we're doing here at Career Plug is making sure that we access people in careers and then sort of practically hear, how you got in, what do you
Yeah.
do, etc. So for you, give me sort of a before we move on to the fun stuff.
Right.
Um, what does like a typical day involve? Like, so you work from home and, you know, I know that you travel a lot, but give me the typical day.
Right. I can do that. And it's a fragment of what we would call a typical month in my world and in many of my colleagues' worlds as well. So for me, my expertise at my company with my med device is in sales, marketing, strategy, and contract negotiations for the hospitals. My
Okay.
colleagues that I work with are more clinically focused. They focus more so on implant support, surgical support, etc. Now, so a typical day for me may be one version of my day may start by looking at my target accounts, hospitals' performance. What's their implant rate? Uh, Sometimes I'll start my day or start my week out by doing pro formas for a hospital that's entertaining the idea of using our device. Because in the med device world, hospitals have to buy your product. You literally buy a physical product and you put it in inventory. And that inventory is managed by the hospital. Hospitals care about their bottom line. Are they making money? Are they losing money? So, from a business standpoint, part of my role is to ensure that they're reimbursed for the products they buy, that they have a price point that is that's actually palatable for their budget, and then I have to pull through the champions, which are cardiologists, to say, "Hey, I want this product." Hospital says, "I want it cheaper." The doctor says, "It doesn't matter. I just want it because my patients need it." And you have to marry those two together. So my days could start with, how am I going to do that? Who are the people that will I need to get in a room, or who do I need to inspire to work on my behalf to have our product acquired and utilized at the hospital? The other side of my day could include going to the actual procedures where the implants are done. So I'm fully trained clinically and I'm fully trained on the sales and marketing side, which means I physically train, I'm present in the actual surgeries, right side
Wow.
by side or over the right shoulder of the cardiologist, going through the step by step and training the doctors on how to do our implant, where to place the sensor, when to pull the device, what closure techniques, everything. So that day could be all baked around supporting an implant. So
Oh,
it's either clinical or business, and in that gets expounded a little bit more where I travel. So I spend time. I'm up in the air. Let's just say hotels in Las Vegas, Phoenix, Arizona, sometimes Northern California. And I'll also take on assignment, I'll go to cities like Austin, Texas for a few days stint and in Florida to talk healthcare economics, and then training new hires on sales techniques as well in Minneapolis. So the course of a month, part of it is in and out of hotels and maybe having some time with customers and getting them outside of their clinic to learn more about our products and how they benefit their patients. And then the other times I'm in my home office, sitting behind a laptop and researching and learning and reading clinical trials, reading studies and knowing what the doctors are looking at that help drive their decision making. So it's multifaceted, it's multifactorial, and it's never the same. So it makes it a lot of fun because it's the variety that I like as a person.
Jeez, wow. I'm frankly a little exhausted just listening to it. I think I will. I think I'll take a nap after this. And let
Well,
me just say,
yeah, but the beauty of this is I'm in charge. So this has been designed. Sought this type of role because I can navigate myself and pull my levers to be where I need to be. Now, is it demanding? Yes, no question. But am I steering the ship, or are the waves moving me? Right. So I want to
there
be
we go.
more in a steering mode. Go ahead, Gene.
That's right. That's right. So I wanted to mention that it is my niece Easton's birthday celebration. So where we hear
Yes.
doors and all of that, you carved out time for me this morning. I so appreciate it. This is going to be a super busy day. Um, Happy birthday, Easton. Love you, honey, and
Yep.
appreciate you letting Dad take some time out to do this quick interview. So, Greg, what I hear summarizing that is again high aptitude, the ability to adapt to various audiences, the strategy and innovation to technically know what you're talking about. So, this is not a role you can mess around in. And for that reason, you are paid according to your value and you earn it, right? So, part of these careers, yes, they have flexibility. You get a company car, you travel. I mean, I've traveled with you. You have, great upgrades and suites, and it's incredible. But you definitely earn it. Just given the description around the career itself and what it takes to get there. So, sort of quickly moving into um, the more fun part. I won't say that you live in a $1 million+ home. You drive a Tesla, and you
You
travel
won't say that
first
without.
class. I won't say any of those things,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I'd say your lifestyle is pretty good, and probably something people don't know about regarding medical device sales. The fact that you work for Abbott, it's a very, very large, top three uh, pharma device sales, corporation. All of that has its benefits, correct?
Yeah, there's no doubt. I think benefits in so many ways, and you're absolutely right. When you travel a little bit more, you want to travel a certain kind of way, right? You
That's
you
right.
you definitely want to be comfortable. You got to get the seat with the leg room. Maybe get the room that's got a hotel room that's a little bit larger, and you feel like you're at home if you're gone for 2 nights. So absolutely, I think that's part of the payoff. It's part of the benefits that aren't in a job description or on a post, right? When you look at an opportunity for work, and that there is a lot of hard work, a lot of foundation setting, aptitude building, to your point. But then once you're engaged in the day-to-day work, uh, you find a way to elevate up. I have the latitude to fly private if I want to fly private. Sometimes that's a lot better, especially if I'm running late and I book my flight at the last minute and I run up. It's a 5-minute check-in and walk-in process, and here I am 45 minutes later on the tarmac in Las Vegas with a car picking me up. So those days you appreciate those days because what they do is they keep your mind focused on the task at hand. So the more technical and the more advanced your role, the more you appreciate those kind of perks, the upgrades, if you will. Um, I would say the other benefit is I'm engaging and interlocking with some pretty smart people. These are board certified cardiologists, interventionalists, electrophysiologists, some of the smartest medical doctors in the hospital. So
Correct.
for me, I'm alongside them. I build trust in them because I'm furthering their skill sets. So as a byproduct of that, I get to find out about some really cool ways of thinking, how they invest, what kind of businesses are they looking in, what kind of startups are they investing in. So I got my ear to the ground on what really, really smart and accomplished people are doing. And then I have some insight to say, well, maybe I can do that too. Maybe I can make my own soap product, or maybe I can support or invest in another startup that has nothing to do with my company. So
Hmm.
I think there's perks from a daily lifestyle standpoint, but also for furthering my own personal endeavors because I'm around accomplished people, and you just don't lose sight of that. You take advantage of that.
That is wisdom dropping. We got to drop some diamonds in there somehow. That's it's
Yeah, man.
just, yeah, that's great, man. So to wrap this up, do you have any just last sort of grown man advice and counsel
Brilliant
on
advice. Yeah.
yeah, just how you got here, how you're feeling, the
Mm.
future,
Mhm.
any just, last words of wisdom. You just dropped a lot, but yeah, anything on that with regards to wrapping this up.
Well, yeah, let's wrap it up in a way that I think maybe I can say a few things that I think applies to virtually anyone wherever you are in your life, period. We are always going through these phases, milestones of life: high school, college, struggling with college, finishing college, struggling with a career, finding a new career, trying to get the promotion, trying to get over a divorce, trying to get over a breakup, right? We have these points in our lives where we have to go, who am I now? Right?
Hmm.
Who is Greg Reid? Who is Gene today? And in saying to yourself, where do I fit into the whole environment that I'm in? Being comfortable where you are and knowing that this is where you want to be. So we all have to develop skills of self-assessment, self-awareness, and also have a mindset of continually learning. We have to keep learning. We have to keep reading. We have to keep going into journals. Spend less time on TikTok and more time on, the New York Times, right? We have to keep investing in ourselves. So for any one person moving into where you want to be or moving along in your own career path, you got to invest in yourself. You got to have the foundational knowledge, because think of who you're taking to every room. Those people they're looking at you. They're judging you. They want to know that you're valuable enough to bring into their inner circle. So that, which goes to
Right.
my next advice: broaden your connected network, level up, spend time with people that are arguably smarter than you, more accomplished, etc., and find a way to service that audience with your superpower, whatever it is. You could be a technical expert, you could be an Excel whiz, you could be an AI prompter. Find a way to take those developed skills and learning that I just talked about, and then offer them up to a group, an audience of people that you will be now connected with. And guess what they do? They think of you. And when they think of you, you're then brought into, hey, there's a pharmaceutical job that you might be interested in. Hey, there's a new med device that just came on the market. I thought of you because I remembered that you were kind of into business startups inside of a big company. So the more you develop your skills, the more you develop your network, then the opportunities will come. And so I would say to anyone, that's from my experience, that's been the pillars to get me there. And there's so many ways to learn these days. There's Udemy, there's Skillshare, there's so many platforms to give you what you need. And then along that path, keep a mindset. This is the last thing, of service. giving of yourself unselfishly or selfishly unselfish, right?
Hmm.
Find a way that you can do that interpersonally with your network, but more so in the current job that you're in. If your current role appears to be menial, take that out and go, what can I do to elevate the end consumer's experience? Everything we do, there's someone that benefits down the line that's getting transformations, whatever they are. In my case, it's better healthcare. Someone working at at a car rental place, it could be a great experience for the rental that they just turned in. So we are all a part of a cascade of events that better someone's lives, no matter what we do. So think about how you're servicing your boss, how you're servicing your company, because that is what you're there for. You're there to elevate the brand. And I brought that up earlier. And then by virtue of that, people will elevate you because you care about their outcomes. Hopefully that makes sense.
Greg Reid, Greg Reid. I hope my audience can see why you are one of my closest friends. This guy just summed up spirituality, motivation,
So funny.
everything else in like a minute. I love that. Greg,
There
I
it
really
is.
appreciate you coming on. Thank you for the time today. I'm trying to go out with this new, punch that I do and say later. So
Okay.
you got to be the first one to do this with me on 3, 2, 1. Later.
Later.